may or may not have raped his daughter. Like, the daughter of the Knesset. Okay, we'll get to that story later. Okay, there's so much to cover. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later today. Okay, are you going to cover what seems to be strikes in Iran soon? Dude, I'm going to cover it all, okay? The American government is revitalizing. The American government is revitalizing its military. We're going to be the $1 trillion military, baby. That's right. 700 billion is not enough. We need more billions. We need more bees. We need 300 extra bees, baby. 200 extra bees. Fuck it. We are now moving from the B to the T. That's right. Remember when the Trump administration was like, I'm a peaceful dove. I'm a peaceful dove. We're going to cut down on this wasteful spending. So much wasteful expenditure out here. We got to cut that down. Yeah, thank God. Thank God my goat is doing that. Of course, if you believe that even for a brief moment, as many people that are my naysayers in the MAGA Communist Coalition were constantly yelling at me over, well, you're a fucking moron, okay? What did I tell you? American foreign policy is uniparty. American foreign policy is uniparty. Yes, the Trump administration or the Republicans will maybe move the needle further, but as I have demonstrated time and time again, even the trade policy that Trump is talking about is put together in a haphazard fashion, obviously undermining the global economy and destabilizing it in dramatic ways. Having said that, the goal and the direction was set forth by one man. His name is Barack Hussein Obama. All of the undermining of the World Trade Organization and the deliberate efforts of trying to decouple global trade from China, that started under the Obama administration. Donald Trump follows through on a lot of Obama's agenda. Donald Trump also followed through on Obama's agenda when it came to making European leaders spend a higher percentage of their GDP on their own defense in NATO. That was Obama. He's the one who actually started this process. Donald Trump actually pushed it. Remember, these things matter. All right? Our extraction, our not extraction, sorry, our extortion protection racket, NATO. Donald Trump did the damn thing, and that's precisely why Biden didn't reverse it. Biden did not reverse those decisions. So, that's important to recognize. However, there are still plenty of things that the Trump administration has done and will continue to do that is haphazard, silly, belligerent, for seemingly no discernible reason. Even directionally, it might be it might be in line. Directionally, it might be in line with the agenda of previous administrations in terms of global trade, in terms of undermining China at the global stage for a multitude of different reasons. Having said that, however, the way that they're going about it is obviously fucking crazy. Are you reading a PowerPoint? No, I am going off the top dome, chatter. But thank you for thinking I'm reading a PowerPoint because I am just demonstrating excellent recall. Let's continue. Trump stands firm on tariffs amid the stock market turmoil. Let's take a look.
Trump is holding firm on his tariffs, rejecting calls for a pause. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce tracking that debate. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, with his sweeping so-called reciprocal tariffs set to take effect at midnight tonight, the president is not backing down, but his administration is sending some mixed messages about this trade war. The president speaking of these tariffs as permanent policy while also opening the door to bargaining. This morning, in the face of turmoil on Wall Street, President Trump remains defiant.
I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end.
He's showing no signs of budging, despite growing fear among economists that a recession is on the horizon. Top investors, even Trump supporters, now urging him to hit the brakes. I asked the president, would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals.
The White House says almost 70 countries have come calling, but so far only Japan appears engaged in any kind of active negotiations before Trump's 24% tariff takes effect. We pressed the Treasury Secretary. You're starting to negotiate. How soon do you think we could see some deals be made?
Well, we have one of the Vietnamese officials coming in.
I think I thought Scott Bessent would have backed away from this by now. I really thought that he would have backed out of this. Like, it would have been forced to just retire, leave the administration. You know what I mean? I truly thought he would have quit by now. It is kind of interesting that he is he's still holding on. You know, he's still holding on. He looks scared. He has the attitude of a man who is not. It feels like he's not happy about what the things that he has to defend, but we'll see.
This week, the Japanese are very eager to get over, and I think you're going to see a couple of big trading partners do deals very quickly.
The president pressed on the purpose of his tariffs as his administration sends mixed messages, asked if they're a permanent strategy or a short-term negotiating tactic.
Well, they can both be true. There can be permanent tariffs, and there can also be negotiations, because there are things that we need beyond tariffs.
The president appearing.
Yeah, his message is now the White House message. Talk about negotiations, but keep the tariffs. The reason why they're doing that is because they want the markets to scream a little less. Because it's not just about like a consolidation of wealth in the way that like even Robert Reich and Sam Cedar and many other people whose opinion I trust on a lot of this stuff have indicated. Because there's a lot of people who think like, oh, Trump is purposely tanking the market so that his buddies can just like pick apart the pieces for pennies on the dollar. I don't think that that is the primary purpose. I think that that is a secondary purpose that happens regardless, right? No matter what happens, that is what is going to happen. That's just the normal capitalist imperative. Having said that, that is not the reason why he's doing this. The tariffs are, I think, the most instructive thing that we have seen thus far. If you are confused about the tariffs, is the 5 points that one random guy delivered in front of what was it? There was another press conference of a low-level dude who got up and said, here are the 5 things that we want from these other countries, including purchasing more weapons, including purchasing more of our shit. And I think that is the major, those are the real reasons why he's implementing these destructive tariff initiatives. Do you think the primary purpose is to essentially strong arm other countries into purchasing American goods? Yes. That is one of the major reasons why he's doing this. There's a couple reasons why he's doing this. Okay? There's a couple reasons why he's doing this. The number one most important reason why he's doing this is because China has cleaned up over the course of, after being forced into the World Trade Organization, okay? China, utilizing state subsidies and its command economy, has absolutely dominated the rest of the planet in terms of trade. And other countries don't look to that and go, wait, why don't we also have a higher degree of socialization and try to implement a command economy? Instead of doing that, other countries decided, you're cheating. That's basically what this is. This is called cheating. There is a finite amount of subsidies that you can offer your agricultural producers. If you're America, you can do whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't really matter. But ultimately, if you are using capitalism as a sleeve, right, and you're not actually capitalist minded, and you are instead utilizing your supposedly capitalist corporations to dominate global trade by offering complete state control to your production that makes it impossible to compete against, then that's really fucked up. That's called cheating. That is unironically the argument, okay? They say Chinese meta too strong. Chinese meta is too strong. Please nerf. This is OP. At no point does anybody go, why don't we also chase the Chinese meta? Not a single person has decided that perhaps that could be the next evolution of capitalism. Okay? So that's a big gripe that obviously Ursula von der Leyen has, the European markets have. That's a big gripe that America has. And Donald Trump wants to decouple the rest of the world from Chinese manufacturing by force. Okay? White House aide Stephen Moran outlines 5 potential responses. This is, ironically enough, one of the most instructive things I have read, knowing what I know about the Trump administration, knowing what I know about Project 2025, knowing what I know about previous administrations and their overarching goals of undermining Chinese dominance of the global stage for global trade. Okay? This is, I'm telling you right now, the greatest summarization of what their administration's goals are. Don't listen to anything else, just this. Number one, foreign countries can accept tariffs without retaliation, giving U.S. revenue. Number two, they can stop the unfair/harmful trade practices and buying more from the U.S. This is the major part. This is what they want to do. They want to forcibly sell our hormone-induced beef to other countries at the higher price points that they can't even fucking purchase at. Or they want our salmonella chicken by force to dominate their marketplaces, okay? Or they want our cars that they cannot drive in their fucking roads to dominate their roads. This is what it is. Because other than that, what else do we sell? Weapons. And also, of course, services. We sell a lot of services. The entire global economy revolves around services. Financial services, tech services, things of that nature. Okay, those are the things that we sell, and we already dominate on that front, regardless. Boost defense spending and procurement from U.S. and ding, 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 there it is. This is the third and perhaps also incredibly important point. They want other countries to make up for the trade deficit by buying more of our weapons. Okay? Buy more of our arms. Please buy more of our arms. That's the only thing we have. There's nothing else that we have. We don't make shit. We make weapons. So you have to buy these weapons. And then, last but not least, they want foreign nations to invest and install factories in the United States and also directly write checks to the U.S. Treasury. That last one is really funny. So, this right here, in my opinion, is the most instructive 5-point goal that I have seen so far from the administration. Pay no attention to what like Navarro says versus what Lutnick says versus what Bessent says versus what Donald Trump says. They have their own personal goals, but I think overall this is the greatest summary I have seen of the actual goals that the administration has beyond what I just described to you about like forcing China to no longer have this dominant position in global trade because their subsidy-backed commodity production methods are, unfortunately for the rest of the world, impossible to compete with. Now, let's just say I'm very familiar with the neoliberal argument here. I'm very familiar with the pro-capitalist argument. I'm very familiar with the Fukuyama guided argument that many people have. I talk to people all the time who I disagree with, who understand global trade, who have a very different attitude around the world. And I genuinely keep explaining to them that the major advantage that I have over them is that I do not have the capitalist dogmatic framework when analyzing the situation. Okay? They do. I have identified two things that I think cause a lot of the experts, because I do talk to some experts, a lot of the experts, I think, have horse blinders on. They operate within the capitalist dogmatic framework, and therefore they can't make sense of what China is doing, or rather, sometimes they analyze what China is doing and consider it to be cheating. Okay? The two issues are, number one, assuming, and this will always lead you astray, assuming that China is operating with the profit motive, with the